you're watching this, you've probably tried to lose weight before, and you've probably tried to do all the fucking diet. Keto, carnivore, all the bullshit, none of which have worked for you. Probably why you're watching this video right now. So in this video, what I'm gonna be doing for you today is outlining 3 key pillars that I use with all of my clients to effectively transform their bodies. So pillar number 1, we start off with nutritional balance. Now, the first fucking step, guys, is eat adequate protein. I'm telling you, the amount of clients that come to me and they're eating like a pigeon, what are we doing? What are we doing, guys? We gotta eat at least 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, anywhere past this, you're not really eking out any more benefit out of that. You probably have more success leaning towards something like a more high carbohydrate meal, all that jazz. Now, research shows that after 1 gram per pound of lean mass, really the protein intake doesn't provide a whole lot of benefit anymore. So you'd be better off just kind of staying below that number. Now, we're gonna talk about calorie deficit, okay? Now, when you're fat, I'll say that, when you're fat, you can have a steeper deficit. If you're already lean, your deficit needs to be lower, okay? So if you're fat, higher deficit. If you're lean, lower deficit. Reason being, the fatter you are, the more adipose tissue you have to take energy from. What is fat? Yes, the shit that I'm feeling right now, the stuff on your gut, that is energy, okay? It's energy. So just like how calories are energy, food is energy, fat itself is energy. Okay, there's calories in fat. Oh, whoop-de-fucking-do. Yes, there's calories in your body fat. You have those extra calories so you can afford a steeper surplus. That being said, if you struggle with binge eating, any type of eating disorder or disordered eating mindsets around food, don't. Okay, don't go steep. Focus on sustainable habits. However, let's say you're an individual with a healthy perspective on food. You've already worked out some issues. Then you can go maybe into that steeper deficit of around like 1,000 calories a day per se. But I wouldn't recommend that to the average Joe Schmo. Basically, I'm gonna debunk some myths real quick. Really, protein timing, there's no anabolic window. What matters is like getting the amount of protein in a day. Really, if you checked off that box, you're good to go. You've hit 99%. Maybe there's a little bit of benefit in like spreading out your protein intake in some instances, and I would actually recommend it for satiety, but it doesn't matter if you have it all in one sitting. It doesn't matter if you eat at different meals throughout the day. Just get your damn protein in. If you're severely overweight, like let's say 300 pounds or so, I would use your goal weight as this protein metric. So let's say you're 300 pounds. I would probably eat 200 grams of protein, okay? Something like that, where we're getting in enough protein, but we're not eating over our needs per se. Now, what's my favorite strategy? Volume eating. You've probably heard of that before. I like to simplify this with an acronym, VMF. What this means is veggies, meats, and fruit. You can also say FMV, MVF, doesn't matter. This just kind of stuck with me in my dome. So VMF basically means veggies, meats, fruits, okay? Now I always tell people this. When's the last time you saw someone get fat off vegetables, lean quality meats, I'm not talking about salami or bologna, and fruit? Never happened, right? So you could probably get yourself pretty fucking far just focusing on VMF, veggies, meats, and fruits. I wanna also highlight something. This right here is called the hunger fullness scale. This exists on a continuum of around 0, you're fucking ravenous, you're starving, you're gonna eat the whole house, to 10. As you can see, the numbers 1, 2, and 0 are all red. That means we probably don't wanna be there. You know why? I'll tell you. Back when I was very hyper restrictive and when I just wouldn't eat anything all fucking day, I would let myself go and I'd be at a 1 or a 0 instead of all day at work, right? I wouldn't touch any of the meals at work. I'd be like, nah, I'm cutting. I can't eat anything. I can't eat anything. I can't eat anything. Keep pushing it off. Keep pushing it off. Keep pushing it off. I get home. Now I'm ravenous. I feel like there's a hole in my stomach. Guess. I want you to guess. What's the first thing I do? Yeah, go into the kitchen, right? So I walk into the kitchen. I'm strolling in the kitchen. I'm going in there. Open up the cabinet. Bink. I'm in the cabinet now. This is me. I'm doing a live interaction for you. And then all of a sudden I grab the fucking Oreo box. Oh, okay. Cool, JP. What are you gonna do with the Oreo box? Bang. Right in my mouth. 24 of them. Gone. Reduced to atoms. Disappeared. Gone. Fairy dust. Doesn't exist. It's not even in the fucking space-time continuum anymore. It's disappeared because I've eaten them all. That's what's gonna happen to you if you let yourself get here, okay? Which is why we don't wanna be here. Now, the lowest level of hunger I want you to get is probably a 3. Which is kind of like a polite, persistent hunger. It's like, yes, I should eat now. That's where I want you to go. When we get to a 2, a 1, or a 0, these are uncomfortable hunger levels. And when we get down to these levels, what happens? We eat everything in sight because we get impulsive. Let's avoid that. Now, we also want to avoid being in the 8, a 9, or a 10. When you get to the 8, 9, and 10, guess how you feel? Thanksgiving dinner. You feel like Uncle Jim and Aunt Beth at Thanksgiving dinner after they eat the whole fucking Thanksgiving turkey and this fucking stuffing and the mashed potatoes and all that jazz. You feel like that. don't want to feel like that. So avoid here. And what I would recommend doing is letting yourself get down to like maybe a 3 or a 4, having something to eat. And also I want to actually give you this strategy as well. Research does show that eating slower, simply by just pacing yourself throughout your meal. I know you love to inhale your food. I'm the same way. Perhaps you grew up in a competitive household where your brothers were just kind of like, oh, it was a race, right? For me, I grew up in a competitive household, right? I lived with 2 brothers. Now you can imagine it was always a fight at the dinner table as to who could get the last fucking dino nugget. Me, being the competitive guy that I am, I was like, oh, no, fuck you guys. This is my goddamn dino nugget, okay? I'm grabbing my goddamn ketchup, grabbing the dino nugget, mucking that shit down, I'm inhaling it. Now, we had a little warfare at the dinner table every single time. So I carried some of those habits through me into adulthood. And that's when I kind of had to look into my life introspectively and be like, okay, wait, hold on. Why do I feel like when I'm hungry, I'm gonna fucking die of a panic attack? What does that mean? Okay, I had to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because if you wanna grow, you have to embrace discomfort. So really, I guess where the fuck I'm gonna tie this back to is on the hunger fullness scale, you're not gonna get to maybe a 7 all the time. You're in a calorie deficit. If you wanna get lean, you have to acknowledge that in order to get to that next level, you're going to have to tolerate some level of discomfort. That's what you're going to have to do. So your body has physiological mechanisms that kind of activate and realize, oh, hey, you're in a fucking deficit. It's going to tell you that. So we kind of have to act in accordance with that. Get comfortable being hungry. It's okay. You're not going to die. I promise. I mean, we can artificially inflate this number as much as possible, but there comes a point where maybe we eat and we're only at a 5. Maybe we're only neutral. And that's okay, right? That's not a bad thing. Okay, you can sit with that. What happens if you go to bed hungry? Seriously, what's gonna happen? What's the worst thing that can happen to you? There's a DoorDash on your phone. You can order Taco Bell at any minute. Now, 2, this is my ripped training protocol. I know, right? Sounds dope. Now, basically, to keep this stupid simple as possible for you guys, because I'm gonna reduce the barriers to exercise, and I'm keeping this really simple for the sake of 1, the duration of the video, and 2, to make it as applicable to you as possible, we want to make sure we're lifting heavy. Right? By heavy, I mean that 5 to 10 rep range. The reason being is because of something called the effective reps theory. Now, this theory basically posits that the last 5 or 7 reps in the set, but really reps where you have a high amount of mechanical tension on each fiber, 2, a lot of muscle fibers activated, right? Which just so happens to be at the end of the set, are the ones that are effective for hypertrophy. So, what does this mean? Well, imagine there was a Jewel-Osco, or I don't know where you live, fucking Publix, right? Across the road. I could do one of 2 things. 1, I could be the wise man and walk straight across the road, obviously not jaywalking, of course, so I'm using the crosswalk. Could walk to the Publix, could order my groceries and come back. Or I could be a fucking dumbass and go, and go this fucking way. You go around in circles, up, down, around, fucking side, left, whatnot, and then I end at Publix. What would you rather do? For me personally, it's not a trick question. I would rather walk across the fucking crosswalk, go to Publix, grab my fucking groceries, and go on home. That's what we're talking about. So basically what I'm saying here is that when you're doing 20, 25, 30 repetitions in a set, you're not getting any additional benefit out of that than you would have gotten from 5 to 10, because the last reps in the set are effective. For example, if I do 30 reps, right? Really only the last 5 reps are effective, because the last 5 reps were the only reps where they were slow enough involuntarily to where the muscle fibers were forced to switch on. Part 2 of ripped training protocol is 3 full body workouts a week, okay? Only 3 workouts? You can't even stick to 1. Stop. I know the last time you wanted to go to the gym, you probably wanted to fucking throw the kitchen sink at it and say, oh, let's go to the gym. Let's do our 6 workouts a week. When's the last time you stuck to that? Oh, tell me, please. When's the last time you stuck to that? Probably never. So don't do that. What we want to be doing is our 3 workouts a week. So each workout is going to last around 45 to 60 minutes. I know, right? Don't tell me you don't have time. There's 2 types of people in this world. The first person goes, oh, I have the kids, I have this, oh, I have my job, that's why I can't do this. And the second person goes, oh yeah, I have my wife, I have my kids, but that's why I have to take care of myself so I can live a long, healthy life for them. Which person do you want to be? Person number 2, right? If you're person number 1, you're cooked, I can't help you. Really, with these, we want to be focusing on a couple key principles. What I would do is space the sessions out. You don't want your full body sessions to be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You'd rather have them be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because after a workout, there's a period of around 48 hours where that muscle is stimulated. The anabolic signaling is occurring for around 48 hours, right? My opposite is elevated. Beep. Muscles are currently growing. Yay! Damage is being repaired. Yay! Now when we lift, right after that session, the muscle's already stimulated. So what you're doing is you're getting a little bit more damage than you are actually stimulus. Not a great idea. So what I recommend is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, space them out, and then you can take the weekends off because you could spend that with the family or the kids or whatever. And then you could do that, right? And I would focus on compound lifts. The reason why I say compound lifts is because it's very time efficient, right? Especially if you're a novice lifter, first time in the gym, very, very efficient. Okay, you can stimulate all your muscle groups just by sticking to compound lifts. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you that. In addition, beginner lifters don't even have motor unit recruitment adaptations yet. How do we recruit more motor units? By recruiting more motor units and getting stronger. Unfortunately, since you're weak, I'm sorry, you have not unlocked these yet. So think of it like a video game. Master your compounds, and then you can go on to the more advanced exercises, the isolations, okay? Because then you'll have those adaptations, if that makes sense. Basically, what I mean by motor unit is a muscle fiber. I'm gonna simplify, I'm gonna keep it super, I'm not even gonna give you the definition because it doesn't matter. I'm gonna have some of the nerds comment on me. Oh, this guy doesn't know what a motor unit is. Shut up, I'm trying not to confuse the audience, okay? So, that's that. Understood? I'll tell you a program right off the dome. You got your pen and paper? I'll give you a second. Get your pen and paper. I'll wait. All right, I'm done. 1 second, over. What you'll do, machine press. Probably like 2 sets of, 2 sets, 5 to 10. Shoulder press, 2 sets, 5 to 10. You can go into some sort of squatting pattern, right? Maybe 2 sets, 1 or 2 sets. I would probably do 1 set on this. You can do a leg extension for 2 sets, a hamstring curl for 2 sets, and then some kind of lat pull down. Beep, 2 sets, and then a wide grip row. Bang, 2 sets, call it a day, done. Easy, called it, bang, easy. Full body workout, done. Now, we have NEAT. What is NEAT, you may ask? Well, about to get real nerdy for a second, so put on your big boy pants. We're taking you to school. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Make sense? What this means is, think about when you are just kind of chilling. Me right now, actually. You see when I'm speaking to you, I'm doing these hand movements. I'm making hand gestures. I am using my hands to communicate different things to you. Now that would be considered NEAT because it's not exercise, but I'm moving, I'm getting activity in, and I am burning calories. So you can have 2 different types of people, and I've actually had this happen. I've had 2 clients. I'll give them arbitrary names because I'm not going to leak their information online if they don't want to. I always ask them first. I haven't asked them, so I'm just going to put arbitrary names. Okay, let's say, fuck it. One of them's Jim, the other one's Beth, even though that's not their real names, but it's fine. Well, let's say Jim, client Jim, I actually had him for a little bit now, and he was eating like, I think it was like 2,200 calories, and he wasn't really losing weight. We kind of were talking for a little bit, and at first I thought it was a tracking issue. I was like, hey, Jim, man, I mean, like, talk to me, man. Like, what's actually going on behind the scenes here? No, but it wasn't until we actually realized that the guy wasn't fucking moving, sitting in his office chair for 10 hours a day. They were like, oh, that's probably why you're at 2,200 calories. So let's fucking increase the activity, eh? Then client Beth, woman, she's pretty small, like a petite kind of girl. She would eat, I think, 2,400 calories, but she was trying to gain weight. And she was eating 2,400 calories. She was like, I don't even know, fucking 5'4", around 120 pounds. She would eat like 2,400 and she'd kind of lose weight. And I was like, whoa, okay, got it. Now, she was very active. That doesn't count as NEAT. She played a lot of sports, but in addition, she had ADHD. She fidgeted a lot, okay? So she always fidgeted in class. I'm telling you, every time she was in her college class, she'd do this. She'd bounce her fucking leg. Like this, nonstop. I'm telling you. On the computer, bouncing her leg. At work, bouncing her leg. Making a peanut butter and jelly, probably bouncing her fucking leg. She was always moving. That's the point I'm trying to convey. She was always moving, always burning through those calories. My guy Jim, sitting at his goddamn office chair, not burning any calories. I'd rather be Beth. I don't know about you guys. So bring conscious awareness to the activities you do. I want you to get 8 to 12,000 steps per day, okay? Now, the reason why you often hear people say like 8 to 10 is because how step counts work, and I'll show you an example with marker here, is I guess if I had to do a graph somewhere on this. So the increase in metabolic benefits, like we're talking, low blood pressure, lower cholesterol, all that jazz. When you start increasing from 0 steps to like 2,000 steps is like this. It's a skyrocket, okay? That shit goes up quicker than morning wood, all right? Now, the issue, not really an issue, I guess, is this kind of increases up until we hit like that 8K mark, and it gets like progressively lower, okay? But then when you get to 10, it's a little bit more. After 10, you kind of get to this plateau in benefits. And in my benefits, I'm talking about like the, adaptations, cardiovascular adaptations, lower cholesterol, all that stuff, like actual blood work. That's why we usually say 8 to 12,000 steps, just to give you guys a little bit of background as to why we kind of reach that consensus as exercise professionals. As far as recovery goes, I'm going to touch on this. Studies show that less sleep actually leads to more muscle loss than fat loss during a deficit. So what does this mean for you as someone trying to get ripped? Just sleep, go to fucking bed. If you're watching this video at midnight, go to sleep, please. Get some rest. 7 to 9 hours of rest is what you should be aiming for on average. Every person's different, so that's why I provide a range. I'm never gonna be like, oh, you need exactly this amount of numbers, this amount of hours. Every person's different. Every person has different sleep needs. Every person has different genetics. Every person has different, familial history and whatnot. So 7 to 9 hours, good range for you to be in. As to how to do this, because I know a lot of you guys are insomniacs, 10-3-2 rule, okay? I know you guys are hustlers. That is not part of the question. You're probably all busy. You're probably all working full-time jobs, trying to work out, taking care of kids, all this kind of stuff. So I get it. It's probably a lot. But I call it the 10-3-2 rule. It's really, really important that we follow this rule, because if you don't, your sleep is going to be jeopardized. Think of sleep like a bank account, okay? The more and more of a deficit you put yourself into, the more and more debt you get yourself into, okay? So the more and more of a sleep deficit you get into, the bigger that debt gets in the bank account. You have to repay that debt at one time or another, whether it's taking years off your life or sleeping a whole fucking weekend away. But you got to repay that sleep debt. So we don't want to be in that position where we are forced to repay that sleep debt, because when we're sleep deprived, we make poor decisions. We're less productive at work. Who the hell wants to be less productive at work? You want to get a pay raise, right? So why are you going to settle for being less productive at your job just for Steve over there to be more productive than you and get the promotion? Doesn't make any sense. So sleep. Don't let Steve take your fucking job, buddy. Coffee, caffeine, tea, etc. All that jazz. Cut that out 10 hours before bed. Oh no, my coffee. Deal with it, okay? It's a Band-Aid. Coffee is a Band-Aid for your shitty sleep. Cut it out. You can have your cup of morning Joe, you can have your morning Joe, you can have whatever, but cut it out after that, because it's not serving you. It's not helping you. It's taking away from your quality of life. And you'll realize that when you actually cut it out, how dependent you are on it. You're gonna hate your life for 2 weeks, but I promise you after those 2 weeks, you're gonna feel like $1 million. Because what this is doing is putting a Band-Aid on the symptoms of a shit sleep. If you slept a little better, you wouldn't have to deal with that afternoon crash at work where you feel all brain foggy and you're unable to focus. You'd feel fucking dialed in. Now, water. Cut that out like 3 hours before bed, at least chugging. I'm a chugger, right? So I drink pretty quick. Now, I have to be conscious at night not to drink so fucking fast, because if I do, then, well, guess what's gonna happen to JP? JP's gonna be up at 3 a.m. taking a fucking piss. Probably wake up at 5 a.m. too to take another fucking piss. So I gotta make sure that I am cutting off my water at a reasonable time frame, so that way I'm not waking up and taking a fucking piss. Now, screens. Ideally, we're getting rid of these 2 hours before bed. I understand you can't do that. I understand you have obligations. I understand a lot of you guys work at night. I understand life's not perfect, okay? But we can try our best to manage our situation, our external circumstances, to lead us into that good rest. So here with screens, you can use warm blue light filters, right? You don't have to blast yourself with 100,000 fucking lumens of blue light, bang, straight in your eyeballs before bed. You can turn your phone on night shift. You could turn your laptop on night shift. You can get blue light glasses. There's so many alternatives that you guys have available to in the 21st century. There's so much technology that you have available to you to utilize, so you're not putting your sleep at risk. Now, yes, ideally we cut off all the screens so we can get the melatonin circulating and all that jazz. Unfortunately, we can't, because that's just not the world we live in. We live on screens. I get it. Now, I actually want to mention some sleep supplements that have been clinically studied to support your sleep. So if you're interested in supplements, this is your part of the video. As far as the recommendations I make to my clients, lemon balm extract seems to be pretty good for sleep. It's been studied and it's had pretty good efficacy in those studies. Melatonin is actually the most studied sleep supplement on the market. It does not chronically reduce testosterone. It does not crash your hormones. It does not create dependence. All of that was false. Meta-analyses on that have proved that incorrect. It's very safe. However, make sure you're sourcing it from the right place, just like any supplement, right? Make sure you're sourcing those supplements from a quality manufacturer that is not afraid to put their tests out, right? That they're third-party tested, because a lot of supplements can have heavy metals, all that stuff, and we don't want that in our bodies. So I would go with a third-party tested manufacturer and you'd be good to go. Make sure it's tested. And then I would go for 1 to 3 milligrams 30 minutes before bed to just get that kind of circadian rhythm back into place. That kind of concludes recovery. So if I had to break down my whole entire YAP session into like 3 simple rules, I think here's what I would say. 1, I would say move. Move a lot, okay? Work out 3 times a week on a full body program where you're training hard, lifting heavy weights, and using decent, stable exercises to get you that hypertrophy stimulus. And also, be mindful of NEAT, your activity when you're not actually exercising. That matters. 2, nutrition. Protein, fiber, vegetables, meats, fruits. It's not that complicated. Cut out alcohol. It's not serving you. And 3, stress and sleep matter just as much as your training, nutrition, and all of it. They really do matter. And just for you guys, I put together a 1-page quick start blueprint that includes sample workouts, sample meals you can try, and also a sleep checklist to get your sleep in check. That's in the description, so you can click that link and check it out. And if you want me to personally build you your fat loss and muscle gain plan so that you can finally get shredded in 90 days, you can book the first link in the description and book your free consultation call today. Now, looking back at the past year, I would look at your progress, right? Don't let another month go by feeling stuck, right? Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. So something has to change to get to where you want to be, because clearly the path that we're on right now isn't working. Other than that, like, subscribe, tell me in the comments, what's your daily step count? I'll hit you with a challenge. How about that? See ya.